Biochar carbon credits. There are so many challenges in this whole system of carbon credits in the context of biochar. It is not that the standards have not been developed. There are so many standards that are existing globally and still being evolved independently also by certain agencies or private companies, or including the organizations related to biochar. Here the issues related to, say, from verification. It is difficult to accurately verify the amount of carbon sequestered. So this comes from the research background, the number of papers that are existing and the studies that have been made are historic evidences. See, radiocarbon dating is one thing where accurately we can understand since when this particular biochar or charcoal piece was formed and existing. So such methods are available, and the scientific community is finding evidences through research on the long-term sequestration potential of the biochar. 100 years to 1000 years, that is the period that has been established. So this is based on the projections and assumptions, and but in reality, really does the biochar applied in a particular place, does it remain there and does it exist there for so many years? So these things are still not so clear, and monitoring the biochar stability, who will take responsibility? Say once the certificates are issued and they are traded and somebody gets credits, applying is not the final solution. Here we say the biochar, when it is applied, apart from that, the total biomass that in the presence of biochar that would happen in the future, and the soil organic carbon or the emission reduction. So many values are put together. That's how the value for biochar is so high. So it is very difficult to monitor beyond the trading of this carbon credits. Who will really take up that instruments and put it or take samples and send it for analysis to know this biochar is really applied by so and so person, and this had been existing here, and this had been serving the local ecosystems or the soil, and the kind of benefit that it had given. So all these things are a big question. I don't know whether the companies that are formed or the agencies that are existing into carbon credit system, right from the international agencies to the middle people who are facilitating the process, or even the person who has applied it, they may not continue to exist for 100 years or beyond. So if then who is responsible? Let us say if I have taken credits today by applying in a particular area, so there is a saturation level for biochar application. I cannot apply beyond. Say I have applied 20 tons, say 40 tons. So it has reached a kind of saturation point. Beyond that, applying has less meaning, because your production might also come down, and this is a kind of shock to the natural ecosystem of the soil or the soil structure. Too much of biochar doesn't help in reality. Even in my trials I have seen when biochar is applied in large quantities, it did not help in the increased growth of the plants. So these challenges are there. So if one generation has applied, and one generation has taken all the credits that I have because I have applied, and if they have applied too much in a particular given environment, then in the future, if all the less production values or other impacts that are going to happen, then who is going to take responsibility, say in the year 2050 after application, or in the year about 1000 years after application? So these are some of the very fundamental things. Second thing is, say today somebody applied biochar, and after 50 years somebody is applying again biochar, and after 100 years somebody is applying biochar again. So this whole process, the right to apply biochar now for a particular value or credits might increase in the future. So somebody will say, I'll give you $10,000 after 50 years if you apply 1 ton of biochar in the soil. So that person will be highly motivated. Then he cannot bargain because already there is so much applied in his soil. So again this challenge will come, and the farmer or the person who is owning the land, if they did not really get the worth credits or the value for application even now, say after 20-30 years somebody from their family can go to a court and challenge, telling that without the consent of my father or without duly compensating my father, somebody motivated to apply biochar in large quantities in our field, and we are carrying as a surrogate mother, so a surrogate farmer, we are carrying this biochar for hundreds of years to come for the benefit of everyone, but what value that you are giving for us, or you have not even compensated much, or not even acknowledging that, then who will compensate that case? Who will come forward? Does the international agencies will come into picture, or the people who facilitated will come into picture? Because somebody has taken money as percentage for the service they have provided, but in reality that percentage did not go well with the farmer, the due right of the farmer. Then how do we address this issue? And again, we don't have much baseline data for comparison. See, the benefits, how we can compare. Today, if you have a good soil, you need not apply. If you have degraded soils and where it is really required, there I will apply. Then only it has more meaning, that we know. So for some reason we had been applying because other farmers are applying and I am also applying. So it doesn't justify actually. So here these things we have to consider at the time of application, and at the rates of application is also not uniform for all fields. So there should be a scientific basis of application, and who is doing that research. Year 1 how much I should apply, year 2 how much I should apply, year 3 how much I should apply, who is responsible for that? The person who is selling biochar or the person who is getting credits, they might say as much you want you apply. But for the impacts, see, ultimately biochar is meant for the values of carbon sequestration. Biochar is meant for all that socio-economic, environmental and all other benefits together. That's for what it stands. So in this situation, who will really guide them? And the greed of some people, the more I apply, the more credits I get, will kill your soil environment. And biochar application is not a continuous process like any other compost or urea. It has its own limitations. You need to apply as long as it is not saturated to the optimum level. There we have to stop. Okay, some of the biochar might get flow with the wind or through your soil erosion by rain or various other means it might flow down. So what is that percentage it has moved away? The second challenge is if the biochar from this field has moved to the next farmer's field, that next farmer who is down the slope will lose his right to apply more biochar. So in the future he may not apply more biochar and he may not get the credits also. So if the second farmer complains against the first farmer saying that your biochar which is supposed to be in your field alone has moved into my field and I lost my right, and if they say remove all the biochar that has come into my field so that I can go for carbon credits now and I can apply biochar in my field, is it possible? Once it gets embedded with soil, say even 1 hectare soil with about 8 inches depth is equal to say around 2500 tons, or it could go up to 4000 tons also. Within that many tons of weight of the soil, we are applying about 40 tons or 50 tons, that is the maximum I can say as per the research till date. The two over a period. In the initial years it is only 5 tons or 10 tons. Even don't take whatever I say as a thumb rule and apply. You need to do field trials and test it, only then you have to apply. This is based on my lifelong experience of say 2 decades I am telling. So after few years, this biochar application to the soils where it is already applied, there we need not apply. So it's a kind of saturated point. Double counting is another issue, that is the thing which we need to deal with now, because there are so many stakeholders coming. Of course they take the latitude, longitude and GPS locations and all that, everything is perfect. If somebody applied with one agency, again they are applying with another agency, the data submitted, the DMRV, digital measurement, reporting and verification, that is the system, that is the software system. It is like blockchain technology kind of software that is being developed, but unless there is coordination between various agencies across globally, unless there is a single common platform where all these credits and the information is stored and where it can be cross verified, this double counting is a very big threat. So there are again different markets. Voluntary carbon credits is a very volatile and there is not much control systems. So how do we coordinate with various governments, various countries? Each country has its own laws, rules, regulations, and again all these systems coming onto a common platform. Although we have certain systems as such as of now, but in the future as more agencies would come up into the business, then we will have more problems. This additionality is one thing which is considered in the carbon credit system, and because of that we are having high value for the carbon credits as of now. Say $500 if somebody could get from 1 ton of carbon sequestration, that's a huge thing. Why? Because there were so many additional environmental benefits that were identified. Because of that it has come up into picture. In reality, if this additionality is not happening much, let us say the soils are good, they are not polluted, the environment already very good, and if all the things are very good, and there also if you are applying, then this additionality may not be so high visible. So this is what we say, apply where it is highly required, apply where it has more values. So that way we need to see. So this additional benefits monitoring is a very big challenge. Say the water treatment thing that happens in the process, or your water bodies, how well they are in the process, the soil structure and the soil microbial life, how much it has improved, or the total biomass that is developed in a particular field or in a particular area, the biodiversity that it supported. So like that many things are there within this additionality, including the greenhouse gas emissions reduction. Say a farmer who is supposed to cultivate and help the local food security to support the local communities' livelihoods and all that. He has applied biochar, but is not doing anything, left it fallow, just like that. Then where is the additionality? The total carbon credit market, it is a variable market. We know in some sectors it is hardly few dollars that we are getting, but only in biochar we are having good credits. So this total volatility of the market is one thing. Many people are investing in the biochar production because of this particular incentive globally, and they always keep in mind, say 20-30 year period of their existence of their business. Then with market volatility and sudden reduction in prices, or many things can happen, even the local or respective state or central governments or national governments, they might take certain decisions. They can impose certain taxation system and limitations of exporting or giving credits to the people outside the country, or new credits that might come, say green credits, carbon credits, like that. So this whole system is very difficult to assess as of now. As long as the developed countries are supporting the developing countries in this particular trade mechanism of carbon credits, that is fine, because of the change in, because of the variation in the income levels. What the developed country, even by doing all these activities, may not see as profit, in a developing country they are able to do it and also make some profits. So this is the factor that is helping as of now. But this whole system is a kind of transferring the challenges of developed countries onto the developing countries or poorer countries for money. So it is a kind of transferring the responsibilities and duties of that country which is really emitting more, and to limit, instead of limiting their emissions, they want to continue to do their business as usual and take this emission reduction credits in the form of carbon credits from other countries as a compensatory mechanism. So this is what actually in reality, I used to joke, say in the future a child is asking their father, he might have seen the satellite imageries of different countries, why our country is darker than other countries. The father might be replying, son, once there was a kind of system called carbon credit. Those who applied more biochar like Amazon dark earth, we say even now, terra preta, that name is already given. Because we were so poor in those days, and by applying this we got money. And see, today all our soils are dark in color. That is one reason why our country looks darker than the countries, say, which were rich earlier, something like that. So this is a kind of joke, but still that's what happening as of now. Then high costs of verification and monitoring, because mostly these credits they are being given from the developed countries, and they are active in this business. For them to really monitor from that level here, and even the charges they put on this verification and monitoring, it is relatively very high. I think this could be one of the biggest failure unless we have field level verifications or automatic verification, sensor level verification. So all these things are very much required. Only then this market would continue in the future. So we have seen within this whole framework of carbon credits in other sectors, like afforestation sector, where already some forests had been existing and people claimed credits telling that we have regenerated or we have done afforestation, reforestation, like that. So there are some cases like that. So this kind of thing should not happen here. So this monitoring verification mechanism should be stringent, and means of verification should be can be foolproof. So all these things are very important. There are not much regulatory mechanisms as of now, even right from the production of biochar. So some people produce with the crude form of production, although it is agreed now, but we are trying to improve by training farmers to do better. So we cannot insist on, say, European standard or American standard or other developed country standard to do the same way in developing countries production levels, because if we insist that, then there is nothing that they can do, because the viabilities will be very difficult. So because the benefits are so high, the emissions that happen in the process of production are taken care, looking at the longevity of the fixed carbon biochar in the soil and the additionality that it is bringing. So that way we are agreeing, but still at the time of production, reducing the emissions is also an important issue that need to be taken care. And quality and performance of biochar, it's again a very big question. Although we do the studies, laboratory studies, and we have evidences from scientific studies and reports and all that, but still the biomass and biomasses within the same species also, the density of the wood or the cellulose and lignin material can vary slightly. Say cotton, let us say, there are 3,000-4,000 varieties of cotton plants. So each cotton plant can yield slightly different quality of biochar. So that way the total the types of biomass that is used for biochar production, and again the species wise also it can vary. Again, say in a contaminated soil you have cultivated some crops, and from these crops you are generating biochar. Some of the contaminants embedded in biochar would continue. So many challenges are there. It is not carbon alone. There are other things also. Then activation is another big thing. Who will do activation? Again, it is cost related thing. So all these things, even the temperature at which it is produced, that is again a very big thing. At low temperatures you might get more weight, but the porosity is so low, so its effectiveness will be low, although we have applied. At high temperatures we will have more ashes and more less dense biochar, and the pore space will be very high. Again, what it can hold, it varies. Say when we are trying to filter gases or absorb gases, again the porosity, the nature is of different standard. When we want liquids, then again it is different. So absorption, like that, many other factors are there. So all these things are also important in the for the performance of the biochar. So this quality is one big factor, and the laboratories testing, they charge huge amounts, and at a farmer level it is very difficult to approach them, and to get tested it's very costly affair, and we need to have more standard laboratories, and the cost of quality checking are the parameters that we identify in the biochar. So it should come down. Only then it is viable for many people. The long-term permanence of biochar, although we define and say it exists for 100 years, 1000 years or beyond, even half of that can exist up to 45,000 years. So we give a broad range of this permanence thing, and H by C ratio, O by C ratio, and all these things also define actually. So, but this is a very some guesstimation based on research is happening, but accuracy of permanence is not there. So, given that range, we are getting credits as of now. But for any biochar, accurately telling that this would exist in this particular tropic level or environment with this temperature, with this kind of conditions for this many years, that we don't know. We can't say. There could be the negative ecological impacts. I said when we apply too much in any ecosystem, and let us say there are some fields in the high reach areas. So always all the pollutants or erosion, whatever happens, everything reaches to the valley level. Let us say the valley has an ecosystem, and this excess biochar has reached the valley level, and it is cumulative there. So too much of biochar by the quantity in that place will not help the local ecosystem much. So if there is any loss in biodiversity and species loss, or if there is more alkalinity increased because of this biochar in that particular area, or even groundwater got contaminated, or the hardness has increased because of too much application. So all these things, then who is responsible? In acidic soils it is okay, but in this kind of alkaline soils and in desert environments, already semi-arid environments, we will have more challenges. There are so many methodologies in calculating carbon credits. Again, this methodologies, there are some discrepancies. I think new methodologies would also come. We need to continuously work, and there are some scientists and international bodies, they are working without expecting anything. Also they are working as of now, but I think with support from this carbon credit and other systems, this need to be intensified. Again, say a farmer cannot enter into an agreement for carbon credit, so there are so many people in between. So for a small farmer level, say I want to apply 1 ton of biochar, can I get credit directly without losing much in the commission and other things? It is not so easy. So even now the system doesn't help them, but in the future there could be some systems based on farmer producer organization or farmer societies like that, where individual level farmer also whatever is doing without losing much money in between, they should be able to get more share. And in the biochar production technology, there are so many technologies available. Artisan level are there, even high-end technologies are there, even least emission level technologies are there. Everything is there, everything is perfect. But adaptation of the technology, the cost the payback period for the technologies. These are the deterring factors, and many people, although they want to adopt, there are certain limitations. They run into several lakhs and crores of rupees also, and that is not so easy. Second thing is the skilled people they are required to manage these technologies and adaptation of these technologies. Even stubble burning issues we have, and we have some technologies, but they are not takers much for this thing. So consider any biomass as energy element, and whether it is food, it adds value. But even at the end, all the crop residue or any biomass that can also add value for your environment or as energy value also. But in biochar science, we don't consider burning it actually. We want it to remain for longer period. So here again another double counting issue will come here. The people are producing biochar, whether they are applying to soil or whether they are taking it for burning. So let us say a farmer said, I want this many tons of biochar, and he brought it. But in reality he has applied, he seemed to have applied, but after few years, because he can retrieve the biochar if he has not mixed well in the soil. And let us say he has used for energy purpose and burnt it. So this is a very big challenge for the people in the system. He is not supposed to burn it, but he has burnt it later. But again he says that there is no biochar in his field. Again he goes for more credit. I mean to say, he goes and gets more biochar and puts in soil again, and again he gets credit. So who will monitor all these things? The biochar adaptation is a very big challenge. Although awareness being created, the farmers they are used to certain existing practices which came up with, say, green revolution, the chemicalization of agriculture, high intensive input agriculture, the dependency say on chemical fertilizers and all that. So they have seen the magic of that chemicalized agriculture, and for them to convert to this kind of sustainable practice, where even in for the chemicalized agriculture also they can integrate. Otherwise in organic agriculture also they can integrate, but their resistance to move to this new agricultural practices is there as of now. Because in the traditional farmer especially, they don't shift so easily. So we need large scale field trials, awareness and evidence based research happening in the field, and media, government and even universities, institutions, everybody working together will soon take over this challenge of adaptation, and soon they will adopt in large numbers. The incentives, actually the competition that is existing between the kind of subsidies or freebies that government gives to farmers in other systems, that kind of thing is not existing here. So that's a very big challenge as of now. So incentive mechanisms need to work out so that farmers will be ready to adopt the biochar. So that was the hindrance even for me. So carbon credits is one very good incentive that has come up independently apart from governments. So that's a very good thing, and that incentive need to be well explained to the farmers. Then they will change and adopt biochar. Then the access to market for carbon credits is very difficult for small producers and all that. So this also we had to simplify. I said even at farm level, if a farmer is making 1 ton of biochar, even he should be able to directly register and get. So this kind of small pockets we had to encourage and help them. Again, massive awareness and education, sensitization, this is lacking, and even the people who are in this production system or credit system, they are not bothering much about this awareness. especially the people in production, they should really act on this, because only when people are demanding their production has meaning. Because they identified the value and just producing and just sitting there and asking where to sell, how farmers will adopt, why they are not adopting. See, they have to have two-pronged strategy. First create awareness, then start production. Then there will be immediate demand for your biochar that is produced, and tell the benefits. And there is nothing to be deceived now. And don't tell apply 10 tons, 20 tons just like that for the sake of selling your product. This is a kind of criminal action if somebody is telling just to apply blindly to get more, because the more I sell, the more money I get. This is not your organic fertilizer. This is not your urea or something, DAP or something, which might disappear after few years. It will be consumed. But this is not consumable product, biochar. It is going to remain there. So be sure. You should be responsible for your actions. And this is what I mean to tell to those producers or the people in the marketing business of biochar at the high end level. And data transparency, this is what not so easy and visible. I think a mobile phone level, anybody should be able to see the data, and that should help everybody actually. The people who are into production, even facilitating. Let us say I want to establish my biochar production facility in a place. With this data, I will know these are the places not yet saturated with biochar, and I have this much potential in this area, and I can start production there, and I will have sustainability. So even the places where it is applied, everything, the like Google Maps, we should have this open source online maps. Wherever it is applied, one should be able to clearly see, and the farmer should know, yes, this is the place it was applied and already I got credits, like that. Then only they will know. Now the farmers don't know. These certificates, everything is in some data form, text form, online somewhere it is there. So who is putting this data outside transparently and helping the farmers, or any other stakeholder who is into this biochar production? And there are some other areas where I think the methodology is being developed, and there are so many areas, so many methodologies need to come up. And having too many methodologies also a big challenge, because some people say if I go by that carbon credit system or that agency, then their methodology is very stringent, I will not go. And they say this is very easy, I will go by this. So let us have some commonalities in between, and especially for developing countries, we cannot have very stringent methodology, because you will not even let them do good things also. Yes, in developed countries, because the emission rates are very high and challenges are there already in the context of carbon emissions or greenhouse gas emissions in their country, they need to be strict. But in developing countries, we cannot put on the same norm. So we need to have again the standards for developing countries, underdeveloped countries, or even small island countries, or the developed countries. So we have to give a range of the standards, and based on the standards, we can help them adopt the biochar production, as well as biochar applications and uses. Say I am interested for environmental management using biochar. I want my livable spaces to need to be improved. I need my water bodies to be clean. I need special composite materials for my various other utility items, day-to-day life. Even as an artist, I want to create certain things with biochar, like that. So there will be umpteen sectors, and there will be umpteen applications. So as of now, we have only few methodologies. Say biochar bricks is one of my area, where I want to integrate in all the construction materials biochar, especially where sanitation is very much required. Yeah, say the toilets especially, even like compost toilets we need to have biochar toilets, biochar urinals. So there will be so many places where we can adopt. So all this for all these applications make the standards simplified and adoptable even for those people who are using. And reuse concept need to be brought into biochar. Say I use biochar for my water filter, then I apply it to soil. So there are two values I have created. So like this also some additionality we should bring rather than directly applying to soil or just putting in the soil or in the ground. That's a limitation. So these methodologies are also happening but not so fast. I think many methodologies we need to develop. Yeah, thank you very much.